Imagine this, 142 countries of the world stand together and say, Palestine deserves to exist as a free, independent nation. And on the other side, there's 12 countries, led by the United States and Israel, saying no, Palestine should not exist. That's not just a vote, that's the clearest picture yet of how isolated America and Israel have become. This is what happened at the United Nations just hours after Israel bombed Doha in Qatar. And here's the crazy part. That UN session wasn't even called to discuss the Qatar attack. The meeting was about one simple historic question. Should Palestine exist as a sovereign, independent nation alongside Israel? And the result? 142 countries voted yes. That's now being called the New York Declaration. Why is this historic? Because literally one day earlier, Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, stood up and said, there will be no Palestine. Such a thing will never exist. One day later, the world basically told him, sorry buddy, we disagree. This is not just a slap on the wrist. This is the entire global community saying Israel is out of step with reality. And here's something that surprised many people. India voted in favor of Palestine. Yes, the same India where talking about Gaza on the streets can get you mobbed, attacked, and politicized. Inside the UN, India joined the majority saying Palestine must exist as a free nation. This matters because it shows that even governments under internal pressure cannot ignore global opinion anymore. Now let's look at the other side, the 12 countries that voted against Palestine. The obvious one, United States and Israel. Also on the list, Argentina and Hungary. No surprises there. But then come the funny ones. Countries like Micronesia, Nauru, Palau, Tonga, Papua New Guinea. Yes, these tiny nations that survive on US aid and American military support. Basically, client states. So, strip all that away and who's left? Just a handful of real countries siding with Israel. The rest of the world has moved on. This word proves what analysts have been saying for years. Israel and America are becoming isolated. Sure, they have allies when it comes to money and military support. But when the world is asked to take a stand on principle, the picture is crystal clear. 142 nations for Palestine, 12 against. At the same time, something else was happening. The streets of Doha, Qatar were packed with people protesting against Israel. And this is important because it shows that while some Arab rulers quietly make deals with Israel, the Arab public is furious. Ordinary Arabs see Gaza bombed, children killed, and they are done. They are no longer willing to accept backdoor diplomacy with Israel. Let's rewind a bit. Israel's first plan wasn't even Doha, it was Cairo, Egypt. The idea? Kill Hamas leaders while they were meeting in Cairo. But Egypt's intelligence found out and they warned Israel. If you attack here, it means war with Egypt. Israel backed off. Then they tried in Doha and failed. Now, Netanyahu isn't just facing international criticism, he's facing anger inside Israel itself. Even Israeli security experts are calling his decisions reckless and stupid. So, here's where it gets interesting. For years, the Arab world was divided. Saudi Arabia cutting deals with the US and Israel, UAE opening embassies, Qatar playing mediator, Turkey standing half in, half out. But this attack on Qatar is shifting things. Suddenly, you see Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Jordan, Egypt, Turkey, Iran all lining up on one side, at least in their public rhetoric. And if rulers want to hedge, the Arab Street is forcing them to take a harder stance. One journalist asked the Saudi foreign minister about so-called voluntary migration for Palestinians. Basically, should Palestinians willingly leave Gaza? His response was pure anger. Not a single Palestinian will leave. This is their land. You cannot force them out. That kind of raw fury hasn't been seen from Saudi leaders in a long time. Meanwhile, what's America doing? They're playing the oldest trick in the book. On one hand, sending money and weapons to Israel every week. On the other, spreading a narrative. They're like, Trump is angry at Netanyahu. We are not happy with him. Really? If you are so angry, stop the money, stop the weapons. But they won't, because UN foreign policy is stuck, dependent on Arab oil, Arab money, but tied at the hip with Israel. And here's the darkest part of the story. Israel's former army chief told The Guardian, the official Gaza death toll is undercounted. The real number is over 200,000 dead. 200,000. And yet the US still refuses to call it genocide. Still pretends it's self-defense. This is why the UN vote matters so much, because finally the world is saying out loud, Palestine has the right to exist. Now let's talk about something bizarre. Remember Charlie Kirk, the conservative right-wing figure close to Trump, founder of Turning Point USA. He was shot dead recently. Immediately, circles tried to spin the story. Arabs killed him, Muslims killed him. But within minutes, the killer was identified. A white American named Taylor Robinson. Not Arab, not Muslim, not foreign, just a regular American. And here's where it gets shady. Charlie Kirk had recently started criticizing Israel. He was against war with Iran. He wanted Epstein's files open. He was drifting away from the pro-Israel right-wing camp. So, was this killing just random or was it convenient? Meanwhile, something historic is brewing. Iran, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Turkey are planning a joint naval exercise. Think about it. Countries that couldn't even sit in the same room 5 years ago are now doing military drills together. And Qatar is pushing the UAE to shut down its embassy in Israel. Even the UAE hasn't said no. The cracks are spreading. So here's the takeaway. At the UN, Israel is isolated. On the Arab street, people are mobilizing. Even Arab leaders, once cautious, are starting to show anger. And America, caught in the middle, pretending to be upset with Netanyahu while funding him at the same time. This is a clear sign yet that the old order in the Middle East is collapsing. The world is waking up. If Israel continues down this path, there will be no friends left, only tiny islands that depend on US aid. And America, they can keep pretending they're angry with Netanyahu. But until they start the money, start the weapons, start the blank checks, they're not angry, they're complicit. The blood of Gaza's children is on Netanyahu's hands, but it's on America's hands too. And history will remember that.